So if you were in life insurance sales, here is probably why you are not making the kind of money you want to make. I want to start by saying this though. This is not a recruiting pitch. This is not trying to sell you any magic lead vendor. This is straight teaching on sales, communication, and NLP, which is my background, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. All about how the mind works, how language creates sales, and how your mind is programmed for your success or for your demise. So number one, there's a few common objections that a lot of insurance agents get over and over and over again. And maybe you're an agent where you feel like you really know the product you're selling, but when it comes time to actually sell it, your brain just shuts off and you have no idea what to say. Or maybe you're someone who, when you do present your product, you know everything about it, but you don't want to come off as being sleazy or overly pushy. You just genuinely want to help someone and it's not working. Maybe you're someone where you feel like you are always chasing people, where you're just having to do so much follow-up, people always need to think about it, and you're never able to get a one-call close. And overall, you're probably just tired of hearing the same objections. Let me think about it, I'll get back to you, let me talk to my husband, my wife, etc. And all of these things can be valid objections, but for the most part, you're getting them for a specific reason. There's something that is not being done in your presentation that once you do it will make all the difference in the entire world for the amount of money you're making. And to be honest, you might even question yourself like I did when I started the insurance industry, saying, is this business even for me? I believe in it, I know how to sell, I know that you can make money here, I see other people doing it, but why is it not working for me? And what I'm gonna go over today is the kind of training that if I had it when I started, it would have probably saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars in opportunity cost, actual money wasted on thinking that it was these different leads or systems I needed to work. And overall, it would have allowed me to have a way easier time getting into the swing of things and helping more people, which is why we get into this industry. We wanna make money, there's no question about that. We also love helping people. And if any of this sounds like something that you resonate with, you're not alone. And to be honest, I bet more insurance agents experience and feel these exact same things than ones that don't. So I hope that this can give you some insight on how we can shift a few things today. Now, overall, the reason why your sales are not happening, it is not because the lead, it's not because the script, it's not because the dialing system you use, but you are not able to pick up on subconscious buying cues or buying signals that your prospect is giving you, or the resistance signals that your prospect is giving you. Because a lot of times they're not going to tell you, hey, Cody, I just don't like this. I don't want this. Hey, this is even too expensive. I don't see the value in it. They're going to say those things like, let me think about it. Sounds great. Let me get back to you. Oh, I don't have my credit card on me. And it's not because of any magic reason besides they just don't like confrontation. Most people have a fear of communicating very directly. And oftentimes it's easier to tell someone, let me think about it. I'll get back with you, instead of actually giving the real root cause of what the objection is. So now that we know that, now that we understand what buyers do, we now know how to position our information in a way that's going to overcome these objections before the buyer ever even brings them up. Now, overall, here's why communication mastery matters in sales. I can give 100 people the exact same script, tell them exactly how to say it, give them the exact same leads, but there's going to be a certain amount of people that no matter what they do, they don't close anything. And there's going to be a certain amount of people that they're going to continue closing no matter what lead or what system they're working. And maybe you're someone that you find yourself on the first end of that, where other people are working the exact same leads, you see it, and you're probably even talking to people who are saying, yeah, I'm interested, I'm open to hearing more, but that close is just not happening. The reason why is because it's the way you present information. You're presenting information in a way that you would want to buy it versus in a way that that person wants to buy it. And what we teach at the highest level of NLP trainers training is that people present information differently, people learn differently, people listen differently. We have what's called submodalities in which we process information. Some people are visual, meaning they need to see something. You probably hear a lot of prospects say, send me something in the mail. Can you show me something ahead of time? And the issue is oftentimes with certain carriers, you can't. There's nothing to send them until the policy is generated and then it gets mailed to them. Some people are auditory. They hear things. Okay, all you got to do is tell it to them. They're going to listen to it, retain it, and be able to actually understand it. These are people that are very in tune. Maybe you listen to podcasts. You can just hear audio coming in. For me, I love visuals, so I'd much rather watch a YouTube visual podcast than just listen to it. But some people are auditory. Some people are kinesthetic. They need to actually see it. They need to feel it. These are people that might be engineers in their background. They might be firefighters. They're always working with their hands, etc. And these people want to actually see and hold the policy. They want something tangible. So the way that I speak to every one of these prospects is completely different. Now, here's the underlying principle I want you to understand. You are not selling insurance. Insurance is nothing tangible. I can never see my life insurance. Sure, I can see a policy, but that policy is a representation of the result that that piece of paper is going to actually do, which is leaving money behind to my family. So point number one, I want you to write this down. You must make the intangible tangible. Life insurance is not tangible. That policy document is something that they see, but again, it doesn't actually do anything. They can't turn that in like a dollar, like monetary currency and get something back for it. So you need to make it feel tangible. How do you do that? It's by getting away from selling the features, the living benefits, the double accidental, the immediate coverage. All that stuff is great, and you always want to explain what that is, but the emphasis should be on what that feature is going to do for that person. Meaning, if I just say, hey, there's no medical exam, immediate coverage, in their head, they're thinking, okay, cool, sounds great. But if I say, Cody, the best part about this, there's absolutely no medical exam needed, so you don't need to do any blood work, go through that whole hassle. There's immediate coverage. So in the past, a lot of people had to wait 2 years. You do not need to do that. Your coverage goes into effect immediately as soon as that first premium is drafted. So God forbid something happens to you, you are fully covered from day one. So now I'm giving the result of what actually is going to happen as a byproduct of the feature that most people are trying to sell to them. So the certainty that you're selling is the certainty that you believe in what it is that you're selling, that you know what you are talking about, the certainty that their family will get taken care of, and the certainty that they will have peace of mind knowing they put all the necessary steps in place to do what's needed to do as a responsible father or husband or adult to not leave that money behind to their family. So oftentimes what I do is I might ask someone a question just like this, and you can steal this one. Now, did something happen to you major medically? Did you see someone that passed away that had to do a GoFundMe? Or are you just trying to be responsible and preventative by getting this stuff handled before something does? And oftentimes you're going to hear someone say, yeah, man, I saw on social media a GoFundMe. And I'll say, man, it's unfortunate, but the only reason why someone had to do that is because they didn't have a life insurance policy in place. I talk to people all the time, Cody, that say things like, you know what, I'm healthy now, let me think about it. And unfortunately, this is not something that we need to think about too much. We just need to do it because there's not much to think about. But I'm going to go over a few things here that help you make that decision, okay? You're going to say, okay, so I'm already telling them I'm going to help you make the decision to get insurance. There's no question about it. And the best salespeople, they're going to sell to you right in front of your face. Oftentimes, if you have to use little slick and things that just sound all cool, it's like, don't do that. The most direct you can possibly be in the best way, that is going to be the easiest for you and the prospect. And it doesn't feel like you're trying to sell to them. A lot of people try to beat around the bush so much so they don't feel salesy that it actually comes across as salesy. So what I do with my clients is I help them overcome all the limiting beliefs, the fears, the decisions, the values that they have around not just selling, but communication, around finances, around talking about money. And this stuff it stems so deep because a lot of times we're bred from the time that we were born to not talk about money. Your parents may have told you, hey, don't ask someone how much money that they make, that's rude. Or maybe you grew up as a kid seeing your parents at the dinner table arguing about finances. So then you think that talking about money is stressful. We develop all these subconscious programs that run the way that we do life. So I've seen this with multiple insurance agents, but hundreds of people even outside of insurance, that when we start to pick apart these different beliefs that people have and give them new empowering beliefs, their sales skyrocket using the same leads and the same script. So next point, go ahead and write this down. This concept is going to be something tangible you guys can use. It's derived from NLP and it's called pacing and leading. Before I can ever lead someone, I want to be able to pace their current reality, or I want to understand their model of the world. What that means is, how do they view insurance? What are their fears about it? Why are they actually getting it? Why might not they get it? Have they had an insurance policy in the past? Now, let's say I'm talking to someone who says, yeah, I'm just kind of looking around, just want to see what's out there before making any decisions. Salespeople usually do one of two things. Yeah, no worries. I don't want to make you have to do any decisions. I'll just give you the information. You can do whatever it is that you want to at the end. Okay, that's cool. It's not bad. The other thing they do is, okay, well, are you just looking around or do you actually have intent to get a policy? And they get a little bit too direct now because they get taken back. That person's literally saying, hey, I don't want to make any decisions. They don't want to waste their time on the call. So then they go in too deep without even knowing they're doing so. So what I want to do, or what I do and what I want you to do, I want to teach you this, is how to pace where they're at and then lead them to where you want them to go. And if you think about this in any environment, let's say that you're working at a job and you have a new boss that comes in there. If that new boss just starts trying to lead and lead and lead, telling everyone what to do, he's going to get immediate resistance. But if he gets to know people, he paces where they're at, he finds out what drives them, and then he leads them, you're always going to have a better time. Same in sales. And the last idea I'm going to show you with this is, imagine if you are working retail and a customer walks in and they're just completely just out of their mind, yelling, they're frustrated. And you say, hey, calm down, calm down. No, we don't want you to be frustrated. They're going to get more frustrated. But if you pace where they're at and say, oh my gosh, that's horrible that happened. I can't believe someone said that to you. Hey, let me ask you, Cody, how can we make this better for you? You pace their current reality and then you lead them with your tone to where you want them to go. So on your life insurance call, here's exactly what you do. If the client's saying, yeah, I've talked to a bunch of people, I keep looking around, not finding what's best for me, etc., you know they're probably skeptical about making a decision. So I want you to identify the root of what's driving that. Because if they say, I'm just not finding something that's working for me, what it really means is that they have not been sold yet. Because I'm sure they've at least found one person that has given them something in their price range that they would do, but they weren't presented the information properly. So here's how you can pace them. Say something just like this. Hey, Cody, I know this is probably not the first time you've been looking around, and it might even feel a bit overwhelming to have all these different options. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make this into something that's digestible so you know exactly what you're getting today. That way, when you go to sleep tonight, you know your family was all taken care of, okay? They're almost always gonna say okay. And notice how I said okay? It's in a very warm, nurturing, leading sort of tone to be able to guide them to what we're doing. And notice how what I did, I paced them. I know that you are X, Y, and Z. I know you've probably been looking, it might even seem overwhelming. And in NLP, we call this a mind read. I'm reading their mind, but what I'm really doing, I understand my prospects. So I'm able to understand what their objections are. I speak to them, I bring them to the surface, and then I say, here's what we're gonna do. That is me leading. Because a lot of people can maybe bring up the objection, but if you don't lead them in the proper way to where you want them to go, they are gonna tell you, I need to think about it, because you haven't led them to make a decision. The best thing you can do in sales is, which one, left or right, hot or cold, A or B. Give them an option to lead them to the next logical step. The best salespeople are always gonna lead that person to taking the next logical step. And then notice at the end how I said very directly, I'm gonna make this easy for you to make this decision today. I'm not saying I'm gonna give you the information and you do whatever you want with it and only if it makes sense to you, because we don't wanna be salesy. I'm literally saying I'm gonna help you make all the necessary decisions that are best for you and your family today. And this is when you start laying things out like this, I promise you, your close rate is going to go up. It's gonna feel seamless and it's gonna feel like that person is actually buying. Because good salespeople sell, but great salespeople make the person want to buy. And that's when things become just effortless. Point number 2 that I want you guys to write down that I'm gonna give you here is to anchor the positive emotion. So a lot of times we've probably heard you wanna sell based on emotion. 100% true. Some people buy based on emotion, some people buy based on logic. I always use a combination of both to make sure that I'm hitting all spectrums of people and I'm tying it down with both different sides. So the positive emotions that I want to anchor when I'm selling life insurance are peace of mind, the love that they're going to have for their family, the responsibility they're taking as a father for their kids. I'm anchoring these emotions into their identity, because when you sell to someone based on who they are, they're a lot more likely to do the thing than just selling to them based on what they're doing. Because if I believe that I'm a responsible father and husband, I'm gonna do whatever it takes because that's just my identity. So when I say, hey Cody, a lot of husbands in your same situation who are newly married, this is one of the first things they do is get a life insurance policy to make sure their wife is taken care of with the income, God forbid anything were to happen. Or the other side, hey Cody, I know that you have kids that are under 18. What most parents do that have kids under 18, they make sure they have at least 5 times their income so their kids are never left worrying how they're gonna put food on the table. And I might even address something very direct and say this, and trust me, man, I get it. This is not a conversation most people wanna talk about, but it's a real conversation that you're gonna be glad you did talk about if something ever did happen. Very direct, no need to beat around the bush, no need to, because think about it, who wants to talk about death? That's the unfortunate part about what we do in this industry is that we need to talk about these hard conversations. But just like anything in life, when you have hard conversations, it usually moves the needle forward. Okay, so we went over pacing and leading, anchoring the emotional decision. And number three, one of the biggest things is the I need to think about it objection. So here's how I want you to handle it. A lot of people, it blows my mind, and this is outside of insurance too, they say, what do you need to think about? And at this point, I've heard hundreds of live phone calls from dozens of different industries. And this objection comes up in every industry. I need to think about it. And when you, as a salesperson, you say, what do you need to think about? You're doing two things. Number one, it's very combative. It's like asking someone why. Why do you need to think about it? But what it's also doing is putting the burden on that person to actually have to think about what it is. And here's the issue with that, is that when someone is forced to do that, they're going to give you the first thing out of their mind, which oftentimes is the smokescreen. It is the filler. I know whatever they're going to tell me, oh, I just want to run some numbers. That's not what it is. So I'm going to give them what it is they need to think about. Just like we do option selling, here's option A, B, C. Which one do you want? I do the same thing with objections. So which one is it? Do you need to think about if the overall coverage is enough for your family or if that can fit in your monthly budget? So what I'm always going to do is I'm going to use this framework. I always agree with them. Hey, I totally understand, Cody, this is a big decision. So let me ask you this. Do you need to think about if that coverage is best for your family or if that monthly amount fits in your budget? Wherever they go, I'm going to be able to lead them. Well, I don't know if the coverage is enough. All right, well, let's take a look at some higher coverage amounts for you. How does that price point feel though? Is that $100 good for you or do you want to go a little bit lower? No, that's good. Perfect. Then I know that we can maybe get them a bit higher coverage and stay around that same price point. Or if they take option B, yeah, just, times are kind of tight right now, or my hours got cut at work, whatever it is. Hey, no worries at all, Cody. Let's go ahead and do this then. I find a solution because I'm trying to help the person. I'm not trying to overcome their objection ever. I'm trying to find a solution. If they want it, there's a need for it, and I can help them. It is my duty and my obligation to help this person make a decision. So I'm going to say something like this. So let's go ahead and do this then, Cody. If that $100 is a bit out of the budget for now, let's go ahead and lock in this option. It's only $60, so it's almost cut in half. We can always add more onto it later, but at least you know you have your base coverage in place if anything were to happen. Does that feel better for your budget? And a lot of times a sale is won just by doing that. A lot of people think they need to have some crazy overcoming objection, or sometimes there's not much more value you can build. So know when to lower the price as well. This shouldn't be your default mechanism to drop immediately to lowering the price, but after you try to add value and it's not working, then it might just be too high for their budget. And it's okay. I'd much rather find something in their budget that I know they can afford that they're not thinking about than get them to just say yes to something and then get a charge back a month or 3 months later. A lot of people, they get closes and the clients charge back. It means you didn't tie down the sell well enough. You didn't make sure that they actually see the full value, that they know exactly who you are, and they know what that policy is going to do for them. And the reason why most agents struggle with all this is because they do way more talking than they do listening. You may have heard of the 80-20 rule in sales. They should be talking about 80% of the time. You should be talking about 20% of the time. This can vary. It's an old rule. It's an old adage, but it makes a lot of sense. Now, how do you get them talking most of the time? Because most prospects will not. It's based on the questions that you ask. Now, if I ask you, hey, viewer, are you having a good day? The answer is yes or no. But if I say, hey, what's been the best part about your day so far? It's an open-ended question that gets you talking. So if I say, hey, do you see the value in this life insurance policy? No, or yes. Either way, we haven't made much movement. But if I say, out of everything I mentioned so far, what stands out to you the most? Or out of all those benefits we just listed, which one do you think would take care of your family in the deepest way? So many different ways we can say this, but it's being able to think quick in the moment. So the reason why the people that I coach get such tremendous results is not because they have all the lines or all the objections. It's because we unravel just like a ball of yarn that we have in our mind with all of our fears, our doubts, our beliefs. When we do our subconscious work, we unravel that to where it's just clear. They're just present. And one of the best conversationalists that you're ever going to meet, they're not the person that's the most witty, the most funny, the most charismatic even. They're the most present. And a lot of times you might notice maybe it's a grandpa that you've had an interaction with or an older figure where you're talking, they're not looking at their phone. They have almost just a soft glaze looking at you and they're present. They're in that moment with you. And you know you have their attention. So whatever it is that you're saying, they're listening and they play off that. I do the same thing on a sales call. I'm extremely present with that person, and I do what's called active listening. So I'm always writing something down. This is a colored pen. I write down based on what they say. If it's a negative emotion such as fear, frustration, I might write that down in red. If they're saying something like peace of mind, the happiness knowing my family's taken care of, I might write that down in green, and I feed these words back to them. But the only way that I can do this is because my mind is fully clear. I can just be in that moment with them and service them. If they're giving me their time and I'm giving them my time, I want to be fully focused on that because I'm going to make money from it, and I'm going to help them take a big decision off their mind, whether they're thinking about it or not. So therefore, it's my obligation to be there with them. And a lot of salespeople would love to be able to do that, but it's all of the doubt, the limitation that I got to pay rent this month, my car payment's coming up, I don't know if this is going to work, I just bought money on leads, that gets in their head. So when you can really get grounded in who you are and start to have this mindset work, dude, you can close any lead you're talking to because it's just another human. This is why the work that I do is so powerful. And if you've struggled with lack of confidence on the phone call, you have a lot of no-shows from setting appointments, or just a lot of people that are not buying, I promise you, yes, there are some leads that might be better than others, but I've closed leads that were like $70, $80 a lead and leads that were 75 cents a lead. And what I've realized is that all people are exactly the same. Just because someone filled out a higher intent lead does not mean that they're even more ready to buy. It's based on your ability to show value in what it is that you're selling. And if you spent the time, the energy, and the money getting your life insurance license, studying, doing all that work to be here, why not help someone get the thing that you believed in enough to actually get your license to sell? And I know you want to. And if you want to take this deeper, if you want to become someone who's a masterful communicator inside of a sales call and outside, it goes so much deeper than just selling insurance, but it's who you become in this process. Again, I'm not here to recruit you. I'm not selling you any leads. I'm not inviting you to my sales team. All I'm doing is saying, if you want to learn this and work one-to-one, where I can help you overcome this stuff and teach you what I've learned for the past decade of doing sales and the past 6 years being in NLP, it is my pleasure, my honor, because this is what lights me up. I know the results that come from it. And oftentimes with the work that I do with clients, if they can just sell an extra one policy a week, they 5, 6, 10x their income. And for a lot of people, that's life-changing. And that's why I take passion in it. So if you want to learn more, I'll have my Calendly in the description. If you have any questions, reach out on Instagram. But it's all there. I hope this gave you some value, and have a great day.